Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Chrysler Pacifica 35th Anniversary Edition. The Anniversary Edition, for the most part, from what I've seen, is a bunch of badging, and it basically gives you a fully loaded Pacifica. But anyways, we're going to do a quick walk around on the Pacifica, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A big shout out and thank you to Larry H. Miller, Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah, for providing us with the van. If you're in the market for a new Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram, check out their inventory in the link below. Hood prop. Under the hood here of the 2020 Chrysler Pacifica 35th Anniversary, we have a naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6 that is routed through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 287 horsepower and then 262 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 28 on the highway. Now coming around to the front, let's go up to the hood first and foremost. So you can see that this stylistically is all the same as what the Pacifica has had since they released the van. Still get the same accent lighting. This one, since it's the fully loaded one, you get the projector HID bulbs, fog lights down below, and then you can see you get little parking sensors there in the front, and then that little thing at the bottom is the sensor for the adaptive cruise control. But the other thing they kind of do stylistically is they kind of make it a little bit darker, basically, so they black out the back part of the headlights. Now around the side here, we've got two 45mm tires on 20-inch rims, and you can see the design on those is pretty good. It kind of matches all of the little chrome accenting that they do on the van, and there's more on the front as well. And then let me just back up so you guys can see kind of like a side angle with the van. I know that people don't normally see minivans as super attractive, but for like a minivan, this actually looks pretty good. Here's your key fob for the Pacifica. So you can see you got a couple functions. You got your lock and unlock, you've got your remote start, your tailgate release, and then your door releases. Let's do the remote start first and foremost. So press that first. First time locks it, second time we'll start it up. And I don't know if you guys can hear it very well because it's pretty quiet, but you can hear that 3.6 liter V6 start up. Press it again and that'll shut it off. And then if you press this button twice, then that will do the tailgate release, and you'll see this pop right up. And we can go into the back. So all these will come with like these stow and go seats. So you can fold these seats back so that it's like tailgate seating. Essentially, you can fold them into the storage area so it's a flat loading floor. Or you can just fold them basically down that way. So there's a bunch of different configurations. You can see the storage space down here is really solid. I'll kind of show you the third row more when we get into the other part. But you can see you've got all these different functions here on the side. So basically you can see you've got your normal, you can stow the headrest, and then you can do all that. So it's nice that they give you those functions. So you can basically press all these to change different things on the seats. And then you can see you do get the 12 volt. And then finally, if we close this off, you can see the tailgate will lower back down. And while that tailgate's slowing down, you can see this one comes with a little receiver hitch at the bottom. More parking sensors right there. It says Pacifica 35th on the back for that 35th Anniversary Edition. And then you've got your limited badging on the other side. And then these full LED tail lamps that are definitely signature Chrysler look. And then let me just give you one more angle on the rear. Ooh. Yeah, I was gonna say, this is normally when I just rip the door open, but you can see this has the automatic door function since it's a minivan. You can also do it on the little side right there, but here is the interior. You can see you've got these beautiful captain chairs, so full leather on them, and the leather is actually very soft to the touch. You can see this kind of contrasted brown piping on the seats. You can see the third row there. It is a 3-seater, and in terms of legroom, it's actually pretty decent. You've got more stow and go system here, so you can see you can pull this up and there's extra storage underneath there. And then this is where you're going to basically throw the second row into, is that little compartment right there. And then you can see the little center console area. This one does come with TVs, so you can pick these up and you can have the kids watching TVs back here as well. And then finally, I can't show it because this door's open, but you can see there's a little sunshade on the door as well, so the kids can basically have sun shading. One thing to note is the windows, they don't go fully down, they kind of go like partially down when you do roll the windows down, but now we can shut that. This has keyless entry, so one touch to lock it, and then to unlock it, just put your hand on the back of the door handle, and then we can open this up to see the panel here in the front. So I've got some nice leather with the contrasted stitching. Got some soft touch up here. All of your window controls right here. It does have power folding mirrors, so you can press that to fold in the mirrors. You've got all of your mirror controls, and then you've got the speakers for the Harman Kardon sound system, and then finally memory seats. And then you can look at the seat here in the front. So it's got these nice bolsters here, more of the piping contrasted stitching. The leather again is very soft. And then it's fully power adjustable here. You've got your lumbar controls. You can see the pedal layout just down below. You've got a little hood latch right there. Your light controls, those are for your fog lights. And then if you notice, the steering wheel is going to be manually adjustable. To start with the Pacifica, just put your foot on the brake, push the push start. Gauges will do a sweep and everything will fire right up. On the steering wheel here, we've got our controls for the cruise control. You've got your adaptive cruise control, and while we're on safety tech, I did forget to mention, you do get blind spot monitoring in the mirrors. Chrysler logo in the center here, that's for the center screen. We'll go over that momentarily. All of your voice commands. And then it is nicely wrapped with leather. You've got kind of like this metal trim for design. The steering wheel feels actually pretty nice in your hands, but let's go to the center screen. So we can see the center clusters. So you got RPMs on the left side. On the right side, you got your speed. You can see there's this little center screen. You can scroll through a bunch of different menus essentially right there. So it gives you a bunch of different bits of information on the vehicle, just like Chrysler's other upgraded products. Really easy to use. And here's our center touchscreen, and this is actually tri-zone climate. So you can see you've got the climate for the front, and then you can go to the rear climate, which you can control that from the front. You can even lock it so that the kids can't mess with that. You can see that it's got the little navigation function on it as well. So you've got the pinch to zoom, all that kind of stuff. Heated and ventilated seats, which we're going to turn those on because it's kind of hot outside. And then you can see you've got a little headrest fold for the rear, so you can whack your kids in the back of the head if they're being a little bit too noisy. And then you've got your surround camera system, which is really neat. So you can see that you've got your little bird's eye view, regular backup camera, and then you have a couple different angles that you can scroll through on that camera system. And then this is all drag and drop, by the way, with any of these applications. Really easy touchscreen to use in general, really good unit, I would say. So we have our analog radio controls right here, stability control, auto stop start, lane departure assistance, parking sensors, parallel and perpendicular parking assist. You got your mute button, hazard lights, all that. Your analog climate controls, your parking brake. This is your gear selector right here, and there is a low when you're going down a canyon or something like that. Extra storage here on the center console, so you can just throw some stuff down there. A couple cup holders. And while we're on storage, we're going to get into this whole kind of setup. So you can see there's a couple USBs down here and an auxiliary port, and then you can see there's even more storage that pops out. There's the DVD player for the rear DVDs, and then there's another storage pocket, and then you can see a couple more charging stations down below with even more storage. And of course we're gonna have a lot of storage. It's a minivan. Finally, we've got a little center console, or not center console, glove box right here. And then note there's some stitching on the dash above with some more soft touch. So up here we've got a little sunglass holder, and then you've got the controls for the full panoramic sunroof up here, the controls for the doors and the rear tailgate, universal garage door openers. And while we're up here, you can actually see the climate controls now for the rear passengers. They can control it with that little control panel here if you don't have it all locked up. Wrap things up on the interior by going over the pricing. So this 2020 Chrysler Pacifica 35th Anniversary Edition has finally broken the $50,000 barrier, so it stickers for just over $51,000 for any type of market adjustment, which I think makes it the most expensive Pacifica ever, and maybe one of the most expensive minivans ever. But anyways, let's take out the 35th Anniversary Edition to see how it drives. So before we set off in the 2020 Chrysler Pacifica 35th Anniversary Edition, I want to go over visibility with the van. So you can see the hood slopes down super abruptly, easy to see there. You can see through the mirrors, and they do have blind spot monitoring like I mentioned. And then even though this is a long vehicle, it's got very large windows all throughout. You can see the whole like sunroof system. I forgot to mention it does have a sunroof back there. You can see that one's open up, which is a pretty neat feature. But you can see all the windows in this van are very, very large, so it's really easy to see out of. So setting off here initially in the 35th Anniversary Edition, and this drives just like all the other Chrysler Pacificas, so very, very smooth ride quality, which I think is a great trade, especially if you're on the market for a minivan, because you just want something that's very smooth and comfortable. You can put tens of thousands of miles on, no problem. In terms of road noise, it's pretty well insulated in general with the cabin. You don't hear a whole lot. You do hear some grunting though from that 3.6 liter V6. Now as we take some turns here, the steering is very, very light and effortless, relatively direct. I mean, minivans have never been known to be like sports car direct or anything like that, obviously, but I mean, they're pretty direct in general. It feels a little bit more direct. If you're used to driving like a truck or SUV, it's a little bit more direct than that. Okay, side note, guys, this SUV in front of me is probably the ugliest SUV I've ever seen in my life. Look at it. Holy crap. Anyways, let's get an acceleration out of this Pacifica, so I'll slow down so we can accelerate. It gets up to speed relatively quick. That 9-speed automatic is pretty good about getting through the gears. And I mean, I feel like a lot of people in the market for these don't need a huge amount of power, so I feel like it's adequate, and the fuel economy numbers are good to go with it, especially for how many people you can carry around in this vehicle. Sum things up, if you're in the market for a minivan, I feel like the Chrysler really shines right now because it's got so much safety tech and so much technology in general. The minivan market's actually pretty competitive, even though that market's shrinking quite a bit. So if you are in the market for a minivan and you want something that's a little bit techier, that stylistically I feel like this is the best looking one on the market right now, then you have to check out this new Chrysler Pacifica and maybe give the 35th anniversary a look if you want a fully loaded one. There we have it, everyone. The 2020 Chrysler Pacifica 35th anniversary edition. Very, very awesome minivan, and like I said, probably one of the most expensive minivans ever made, which is kind of crazy to think about. But anyways, if you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you thought. And then again, a big shout out and thank you to Larry Miller, Dodge Ram, Jeep, Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah for providing us with a van. Check out their inventory in the link below if you're in the market for any of those vehicles.